I can even it out.
Welcome, campers! This is Campfire Odysseys, and this is the Campfire Chat for The Masquerade.
I completely did it already.
That's okay. We are here at Geeky Teas here in Burbank, California, local game store here. If you're in the area, Los Angeles area, be sure to check them out. I'm Michael Lee Greenhut, and I am joined, as always, with our lovely camp counselors, KS Chacon, Nicholas Somera,
That's me.
and Marvin Ordono. Ooh, and someone's stomach. Just to let you guys know, spoiler warning, we are going to be going over the contents of the entire season for The Masquerade, all 12 episodes. So if you are not caught up, if you haven't watched it all, go watch that.
Watch the show.
And then come back and join us. Kick it over to you.
Well, yeah, with that, we want to start off with giving big thank yous to everyone watching. Thank you for watching and tuning in, but also to our amazing cast and crew. People who basically helped us make this a reality. Our amazing crew, which is Sean Morris, our DP.
Gang.
Mario, God damn it, Marvin. Sorry. Mario Colangelo, our technical director.
Eugene Chacon, our sound engineer.
Suzanne Makoski, our amazing art director, lead mini painter, and prop maker.
The talented Karina Martinez, who's also one of our mini painters.
Lauren Feidner, our production designer, and the person who provided our amazing shooting location, the studio that we shot the whole season in.
Alex Savio, who provided Crafty for us.
Dylan Price, our story consultant.
Sarah Makoski, who was at bird.draws on Instagram. Amazing, talented artist who designed our logo.
Yeah. Also wanted to give a special shout out to 3D Egos on Etsy. We got a lot of miniatures and little set pieces from them. They were so helpful, so I wanted to shout them out especially. And then our amazing talent, which we've already introduced, but we'll do it again. Nicholas Somera, Marvin Ordono, KS Chacon, who is our GM and producer, and me, producer, talent, like 20 other things. All right. So,
does your back hurt?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm very heavy.
Your legs are real strong, man.
It's very hard to carry.
All right. So, guys, yeah, like I said, we're going to be talking about the season of the Masquerade. So, I just wanted to ask everyone, and feel free to just chime in. What is everyone's initial thoughts like on the season? The season's over now. What do you think? How does everyone feel the season went as a whole? Did it meet your expectations of kind of what you anticipated for it? And was there anything left unsaid or was unresolved that we should reveal here?
Ooh, spicy.
Sucked to have to stop playing those characters.
There we go.
It was amazing.
It kind of feels like a weird annual review for me.
That's hilarious.
End of the season review.
Yeah, I fill out on our boss, the DM, Chacon, review.
It was, dude, it was fun. I feel like nerve-wracking a little bit for me, because like...
I feel like that's every...
Yeah. But I feel like I put pressure on myself just because like... I look up to you guys in the D&D sense of things.
My bad.
I know. I'm like, because I'm the newest one here.
It's your fault, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, correct. So if there's anything...
Well, they don't know that.
Well, now you do. But yeah, because you guys have like so many years on me. But it's like really cool to kind of see where you guys... Or just how you guys think, how creative the story goes. And I'm just like always like impressed with like how each session goes and like how the story progresses. And so like, yeah, so it's nerve-wracking, but I'm also like learning after every session. And like, yeah, I don't know. I think in the beginning it's just like nerves, but then I loved how it ended. I thought it was just so a nice ribbon at the end.
This is also yet another completed campaign for you, which at least, I don't know about in your guys' experience, but like, I think I've had... Well, my percentage is going up, but I think I've had more unfinished campaigns than finished campaigns, which I feel like is not...
Marvin is spoiled. The rest of you out there who are watching you play a lot know that that's not normal.
I think you're 100% on finished campaigns.
No,
with us.
Yeah.
This core group.
Correct, because I've played Pathfinder. I played one that didn't finish.
That was the first... like tabletop experience that you had, right?
Yes. So I've played a Pathfinder campaign. I unfortunately didn't finish that. And then I am currently playing another Pathfinder one. But all the other games I've played, I finished, which
So you need to stop playing Pathfinder.
That's the curse.
That's the through line.
This is our launch. This is our hard launch. We're anti.
That's right. I know. Like,
We're system agnostic here at Campfire Odysseys. That's very specifically part of the mission.
no, but yeah, you're right. Because I constantly hear and see memes about like scheduling and how every campaign, like just how there's so many unfinished campaigns out there.
We have someone with a superpower for that.
Oh
yeah, that's true. Yeah, the true BBG is scheduling. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I have had a lot of unfinished campaigns. I also play a lot of AL. Adventures League, which is like nothing but unfinished games.
Yeah.
But with the core group, we tend to finish everything we start.
Yeah. We've been pretty good.
I love the Masquerade for this because it was, for me, despite having many years of playing tabletop games, there was a lot of firsts, right? Not just for me as a player, but also like as a group, because we've played quite a bit, obviously. We have to report it to show it, but I think it was the first time any of you guys saw me play a face character like that archetype,
which is what we've been waiting for.
This is the first high charisma character I've ever seen.
Yeah. Which I knew was in there.
Because
I knew it was in there.
Oh yeah,
I would amend. You do play face characters, but they have terrible charisma.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
part of the
always
joke, right?
talk.
And I mentioned, and I've brought this up before, that I feel like a lot of times, a high charisma character and a very low charisma character should be played the same way.
Right.
It's just that the low charisma character thinks that they're good at it.
Right.
And that's what makes them. That's where the negative stuff comes into play that works really well.
Charisma, and then there's confidence level.
Exactly. They just don't. No one buys it. Everyone's like, oh, what an asshole. Like, and that's. But that for me was like one of the things that was really a lot of fun. For this was getting to kind of show that side of myself as a player off, and also get you guys to play off of that. I felt like that was really awesome. Some uncharted territory for us as a play group to be like kind of exploring. All right, well, how do we deal with Nick when he's causing the trouble in a social aspect? Like how do we work this out?
I guess you and I kind of flipped on what we normally play, because in our home games I often play the charismatic talking character, and then this one I was much more, it's not like Boogs didn't talk, but that wasn't his first.
He got his message across.
Other ways, exactly.
Grunted.
And I think for me, the entire season was really fun. I was impressed with, not to stroke our own egos, but I was impressed with how, even with the shorter run time, because we're used to open-ended campaigns and things without limitations, and having to hone in on only 12 episodes, it was sometimes a little bit of a challenge, but I don't know, I didn't feel like anything major got unresolved. I feel like all of our character arcs had, there was full character arcs for each of us. Obviously we accomplished the goal of the heist. And then also that's another thing. I really enjoyed all the different like planning of things, and Recon, even when it went very poorly. But that was really fun too, because I feel like in a lot of campaigns, there is planning, certainly, but having a campaign where the focus is so much on, okay, we need to come up with the best plan that we can and then try to execute that. And obviously things are going to go awry in the middle. Just that extra element of like, okay, we're going to do this and you're going to be doing this and you're going to be doing this, and like really trying to go into it with defined roles and set it. Because, I feel like on a lot of other campaigns, it's like, I don't know, we'll
figure it out.
We'll fucking grab the thing. You'll fireball him, right? Yeah, whatever.
Do you think any of that had to do with kind of our smaller party composition? We had a little more defined roles, I think. Where sometimes in a larger group, it's kind of a little bit squishier. Who does what?
Game, it was like complicated for me to. I was really worried about fitting in your guys' story arcs because we had such a condensed game. I think we did a really, really great job. But I feel like the limit of party members, because we only had 3 PCs, was a huge help. Because there was no wasted time, really. Every conversation was essentially backstory or actively working towards your guys' arc. So there was no dead space or like, not to say one more person would ruin that,
No.
but in the sense of
or
like,
even 2 or whatever.
it's just because there was less episodes, it's easier to highlight people throughout the season.
Yeah. I think it's also the fact that we went into, like with character creation, we, you know, it was like one of the big questions that we tried to ask ourselves was like, what role would you fit within like the heist archetype?
Kind of like go in there with already dynamics somewhat talked about.
And so having those in mind, and then also we did a 0 session, which was really fun. We did like a little heist at an art gallery as a 0 session, just to get comfortable with our characters and test some stuff out. I think that also helped in terms of like, okay, cool. Here are the things that we can do. Here's how we can work together to like fit all the pieces and like execute plans.
No, it was great. It was a ton of fun to be in and to be a part of.
Yeah. Speaking of fun, what's at least one of everyone's favorite moments? It could be something that your character did, or in your case, an NPC, or something that we did, or someone else did, or whatever.
One moment was when Nick, you did you disguised yourself, and then the voice you chose, which is still very
that
sometimes being disguised is more about standing out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was just so fun. Like, I'm just like, that's what I wish I did. But I was like, I want to make it more natural, and I'm like, yes, it's still in there.
Yeah, that took me, not completely by surprise, but it was very much a moment where I was like, okay, I know Nick is playing the face character, but I wasn't quite sure how far you were going to go with it. And then once you busted that out, I was like, oh shit, well,
Dude's committed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, that was a fun moment.
Locke was a lot of fun to play for that.
At that moment, and then also when you impersonated Eric, the warehouse manager. And I loved.
He gave me something, the template to work off of. Was so good.
It was a very good.
This anxiety-ridden poor middle management guy just breaking down.
Yeah, that was really excellent.
He's like a mix of Morty and the guy from The Simpsons who's like always the intern.
The teenage pinball
I
kid.
don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't like the tone of your voice, mister.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment, one of my favorite moments. Actually, no, this is the favorite moment, but I have others. But my absolute favorite moment, I think, was at the very end, the final encounter. We're in this underground ritual chamber. Pak, I feel like your character definitely did have an arc, but I feel like we were near the end, and I was like, I don't know, how is it going to get like fully realized? And I didn't quite see how that was going to play out. Obviously, I knew it was going to play out. I knew you were going to pull something out for that to make sure that happened. I just didn't know how it was going to come. And then when you were faced with your cousin, who's essentially like your sister, very close. You were very close with, was in this moment of danger, and then you were faced between, do you face your fears and push through that fear and have this heroic moment, or do you shy away? And you pushing through that fear as Pak and having that moment, and then being, getting that final blow on that giant flesh monstrosity.
And that was after giving into his fear in the first place.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You're running away. And I was like, are you going to run?
Running away.
He's going to die.
Yeah. So I was like, dude,
running away. And then,
terrifying.
I don't remember exactly what the line was, but I think Laureen said something that helped you flip that.
Yeah.
Because when she decided to join the fight, she said something.
Yeah, she's like, we can't run forever. Or how long are we going to keep running Pak?
Well, I also like too in that moment, because I that was one of also my favorite moments of that campaign.
That's such a good moment.
Because it's a twofold part for Pak, because not only did you have to face the fears, but it was also him a little bit accepting himself and his history, where he's like, I can be strong and smart.
Right.
I don't have to be one to the exclusion of the other.
Yeah.
I mean, he did, and then to tap into his core primal thing, but through the use of his magic by adding the enlarged thing. And then he's like, this is my cleverness. Well, you know what I'm going to use it for?
Yeah.
For added brute strength.
It
was such an epiphany. Like, it was such a just and then again with the rolls and then the epic like clutch flip, quick win flip.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, it has to be big risks and stuff, and it just worked out.
Well,
perfectly.
obviously it makes for great storytelling.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was such a great, because like obviously throughout the whole campaign, I was trying to set up like big hurrah moments, and one of my big worries was like, well, because we have a shortened thing, is the big climax gonna feel like a climax? And sometimes they just write themselves. Where like I didn't even expect you to run away from the fire.
Me,
I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, guess who's not gonna run away from the fire?
Yeah,
Lorraine, your little cousin.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
And it was such a like cathartic moment of like, I teared up. The thing too is like that whole sequence from you realizing your uncle's true intentions to like you realizing his uncle's true intentions, seeing Rensron like be saved. It was such like an emotional buildup.
Yeah. Well, there was like a bunch of really cool like subtext moments too that I didn't even think about that we were carrying through the whole show, where of familial ties that are not necessarily what you expect. Right? Like you already said, Pac and Lorraine are more like brother and sister.
Yeah,
exactly.
And obviously Locke's uncle is more of a father figure.
Paternal figure,
yeah. And then in a way, at the end there, Boogs kind of had to come to grip with the fact that in a way he had like an adopted family in his crew that he is like, all right, I am part of this. Yeah. Right? I'm not the dude on the outside who's just trying to get a job done. Like I'm fully invested now. And so there was a lot of cool stuff there. Yeah. And that definitely, I mean, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite moment out of all those for sure.
You can say one or you can say multiple.
Definitely one of mine that I really liked actually was pretty much like a little solo scene for your character was I really liked watching just as a player the interaction between Pac and Boogs when Boogs admitted to being essentially the lead guy for the singeing of the horns.
Yeah, I felt so devious.
And well, it was beautiful, and I already knew because you'd let slip early on the general you're trying to get revenge on, and I'm looking at the stuff Chacon sent me, and I'm like, why'd you do this to me? But it was actually after that bit because you guys had this tense moment, right? And so when Pac leaves to cool off, what does he do? He goes back and he starts cooking. He dives into the minutia of it, and it's like this. It's like this. He's like, I have to calm myself down.
I forgot about that.
But it wasn't like just dryly technical, right? But it was him doing his science, but it was like the stuff that made him who he was, and like where he came from. Yeah, and that was just a cool way for you to bring that character like to ground him.
Right. Because with that one, because I didn't really reveal as much as I wanted to with that aspect, because like that burnt page of the recipe that he found was from the Singing of Horns.
Right.
Yes.
And so that was his mom's recipe.
Okay, that's what I was just about to ask.
Yeah. So that was his mom's recipe who he lost in the fire. Yeah. And so that's why he keeps it with him. And so he has this ulterior dream of like, creating a bakery or having this passion, and that's that one thing that he, obviously reminds him of his mom. So and just for him to just be like, this is my safe place.
Well, it was also just a brilliant bit of character because he could have pulled a cameo out of his mom. He could have pulled any like burnt memento out and looked at it. Yes, but he didn't. Yeah. He did something. He had to go through a process with his hands. He was doing experimenting. He was like engaging his mind, and that like to me that was just like a really good.
That was such a good. Yeah, it was such a good.
It was expertly it went perfectly to character.
That was a nice moment.
That kind of goes to my favorite. My favorite thing is just a collection of surprises I got from everybody because we had a 0 session that was awesome, and then I went off and I snuck around and I did all the devious like tweeting of everybody, interweaving of your guys' stories, but the little surprises like how good that recipe thing was, how well you played like the cowardice of like the fear of fire, like those things were super awesome. I didn't expect your awesome usage of like the grease spell.
That was my favorite spell.
We had a lot of fun with creative uses of spells for sure.
But how disgusting and like vicious Boogs was, no idea. I did not expect that at all. I was like, what?
I think literally in the moment where it it's setting the scene with Boogs, he's in the prison, and then the rat comes. I think in that moment I decided, I'm gonna kill this thing. I'm gonna sucker this thing in and kill it as brutally as possible.
Yeah, and then you solidified it when you freaking killed that innocent. We had the inside joke of what was his name, Chucky.
Yeah.
And then when she like basically just destroyed, I'm like, no.
Should we talk a little bit about that? I mean, we did kind of make a thing to explain it, but that was something from the Zero session that I think is really funny.
His name actually was Chucky, right? There was a guard in the Zero session.
You introduced him as Charles, and I called him Chucky.
And then you called him Chucky.
Yeah.
And then I just thought it would be funny if I knew this guard's name and called him Chucky, but then that morphed into all peons in the Scarlet Guard are their Chucky
just became
is their like designation.
Instead of new fish, it's Chucky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's where that came from.
We retroed and justified it in the world.
Yeah.
It was
the funny bit, the Lochlan having the moniker of Lucky came out of that conversation. It was a lie he just made up in the Zero session to make that guard feel better about himself. But then I was like, this is a thing that someone might have tried to call him at some point, and he would hate it.
Yeah.
And so I worked it into the character that I'm like, oh yeah, there's a couple people who know him as Lucky, but like no one, like, don't try it otherwise.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I really liked that too. I liked that he has this nickname, but really only, I assume, 2 people call him that or are allowed to call him that, or or he would be comfortable with that, which is his uncle and his mom, right? Yeah. There was another. I wanted to bring up too another favorite moment I had. Well, I in general I really liked all of the character intros. I thought you did a really good job of setting each character up and having unique scenarios for each of us. Lochlan with his little mission, his espionage mission. Pak. Seeing like his home in his homestead and like the kind of the sad state of affairs there, and then Boogs with the prison break, which, man, that was like
good intro.
That was fucking awesome. And I'm so
that went so well for that character because you're like, let's just show what we can do.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because I was like, because I had pitched that, or I asked, I was like, it'd be really cool if I could break out of prison, and you were like, we'll see.
There was so many times in me preparing for the game that Mercs would be like, it'd be cool if I saw my son. I'm like, I'm already literally leave me your kids, mind your fucking business, and let me give you some surprises.
Well,
there was a time early on too where like we started talking because like as soon as he said Orlan, I said what, and you're like, shut up, you don't talk to him.
Nobody talks to each other.
But I was going to say another favorite moment. I feel like all our favorite moments are around Pak.
Another great character.
He's real nice. I appreciate that.
But another really fun moment for me was in your intro. I thought it was a very mature player decision to have Pak not be the mayor, but have lost being the mayor, and it was to another
like rival.
Okay,
just a strong ass. Minotaur.
It was someone else in the community. I thought maybe he was your uncle's son, so he would have also been your cousin.
He was just a prospect.
Got it. But even so, I thought that was a very interesting choice because I think it's very natural for us as players or any player to like, I want to do the fantasy fulfillment, like I want to be the hero, I want to be the guy, and for you to make the decision of, well, Pak tried to be the guy, but he didn't.
It's almost work out. It's like an anti-folk hero.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the idea behind it was, because my thing is like, I think just any background or character stuff, like I love just dark, gritty, like the old Disney when they have like no parents type of, I'm like, I love that stuff. Like just, I feel like just the trauma, more trauma, the better. But
I'm the opposite. I like very sunshine, happy go.
That's so.
Yeah, that's what this was.
Oh, I know.
So
it's so boring.
This is my happy version. I'm going to do a dark version next time.
But going back to the whole like why he lost, because I was thinking, because we were kind of going back and forth to like enrich his background. Sorry, excuse me. But I wanted a reason for Pak to have, because his storyline too is he left his town to go study in Alcancé and the big tech city, and he needed a reason to do that, and so I think because he was still seen as like a leader, as like a person there, but he didn't have the strength of the old school thinking, and losing to this guy, he's like, I need to prove to myself and to these other people that this way that I think is going to bring up my people
Yeah.
is going to work.
Yeah.
And so that's why he left. So that's why he had more reason, like, I'll show you guys type of thing, and had to leave for it. And it just adds to, like, again, just his motivation of why he's doing things very differently.
Yeah.
But it spoke to his character a lot too. I thought it was really good for setting the scene for who Pak is in terms of, doing what he thinks is right. Because a lesser character, right? It's very easy. That's an easy allegory to make, but like for that self-doubt to enter in, to be like, well, other people don't believe in me because I lost a popular vote,
right?
But he's like, no, I believe. I still think I know what I'm doing. Like if I couldn't convince you, that was just my failure to convince you, not my failure to be correct.
Yeah, it's you just don't know.
Yeah, he's like, you'll get there. It was more him being like, oh, I'm trying to, and I love that about his character because I think that came out a lot. That was funny because what we I think kind of took, especially considering his name, we took to be kind of a humorous character into a much more
It was very much
it was a good
sticky name.
And I mean, it's not to say we didn't have good moments of humor, especially between our characters.
All your sayings,
for
folksy
turkey.
sayings.
Oh, and turkey. Oh, that's another thing I can get into.
Turkey was awesome.
Yeah, because turkey. Yeah, every time he was Greek, butter him up, turkey. I was like, oh,
Happens to who?
Yeah, I literally wrote down. I mean, you would constantly see me look down because I had a bunch of cheat sheet of all these index cards of all these Southern sayings that I Googled, and just
heavily modified.
Yeah, heavily modified to make it more lore accurate.
Yeah.
But turkey. So the lore behind turkey, which is my my little familiar, my homunculus servant. It's a mixture of my parents' names.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So So
I wish I would have known that. That would have been perfect.
No, just a little extra lore type of thing. So oh my gosh, I'm like blanking out. But my dad's name short term is Turk.
Okay.
And then I believe Christy or Krista was my mom's name.
And
so Turk. Yeah, so like a turkey. I don't know, whatever. I think so. It was one of those mixes.
Yeah, because when I saw how it was spelled, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, there's got to be something there.
Yeah.
So for the intros, I really wanted to do like the cool montage opening to the heist. And then you guys, and then you guys being so different made it easier to like figure it out. But the challenge was that what like made it so much fun for me was trying to incorporate something of like your internal struggles, kind of foreshadowing, like. The espionage thing was like an homage to the thing you were trying to fit into the mission that you were eventually hopefully going to betray, which it worked out.
Well, literally getting Locke to prove himself right off the bat. That was his immediate thing.
Yeah. Like that overarching thing. And for you, not only breaking out of prison, but also like breaking free of whatever was imprisoning you.
Yeah,
right? And that was a very easy metaphor to make because you're in prison. Mm-hmm. But for Pak, it was the hardest one. Pak was definitely because it's hard. It's easy to make a prison break awesome and an espionage mission awesome, but it takes a lot of vulnerability and it's a big leap to be like, hey, I'm gonna bring this dude home.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring this fool home and talk to his family, and y'all gonna deal with it.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that too, and it's like this whole like sentimental, very background heavy, and it's like. That's the utility guy. Yeah. He's our escape guy.
He's not just the gadget guy. He's got like heart and like which is this has been like I think in playing with you, this has definitely been the most emotional character you've ever played.
Yeah.
It was such like the range of emotions he went through too were so good.
Oh yeah, the anger. And I was worried about that just again because of the whole like shorter format. I was like really worried of like, is it gonna take me too long to warm up to who Pak is or just to become Pak? But I mean, if anything, that whole ending scene was I really felt like 100% like this is what he would do as a person.
Totally.
And so I wasn't worried after that.
Chacon, you did a really good job, not only in the intros but throughout the game. Of like bouncing the vignettes at the appropriate time to the point where like one of my other favorite moments, like actually for my own character you're gonna play is almost hilariously like where I'm mostly left out, like when you guys are going going through the horrible the recon mission from hell that went wrong, right? Yeah. So I'm like kind of just sitting in the sidelines for most of that, but it just opened up moments. We just had such a good rapport where like there's a bit where like behind the scenes, the three of you like look at me after that, and Chacon's like, "You haven't done anything this entire episode."
Yeah,
I haven't seen one thing. And then,
it was literally like, just, "Hey guys, got the tickets."
Yeah, I'm like, whatever I do has to be short and to the point. And I'm like, what's the most absurd humor? God. And then it was just like, hey. And then to be as like happy about it as humanly possible.
You don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, we got it all taken care of.
And it was just like giving me the opportunity to like bring that down. To,
that
like,
was perfect.
A, to put some levity on the situation, but also it's like, it was very much just like a quick stinger, and it felt really good to have that moment. Even I'm like, right along with the audience, just being like, oh no, what are we gonna do? Yeah. And then I'm like, I have to come up with something.
Yeah. So that was so good.
Let's talk about that moment.
So the recon?
The recon at the castle, just everything going tits up to the point where we lost Zirin.
Was he leveled super high level?
He's basically a level 20
with a
character.
bunch of boons. Yeah. He's like level 20 with a bunch of boons. He's a legendary.
Yeah. And he can't die.
Well, let me ask everyone, because I know, obviously I know my perspective. Because I'm the one who did it. But what was everyone else's, like, what was going through everyone's minds?
I don't know.
In that moment.
Because I've played, because we've played enough games where I'm like, oh no, not again.
I enjoyed it. Well, part of it was interesting because I went into the game kind of thinking like, all right, well, I've been selected as like the face archetype, and I'm assuming I'm kind of like, a lot of times those characters kind of become de facto party leaders or do a lot of the deciding in terms of like the direction of things.
Yeah.
And for the most part, Locke didn't. Like, and I think that was because early on, Boogs came out the gate so hot and that was kind of like intentional. Like we talked about you and I being like, all right, well, you're there to kind of like temper him a little bit, and then that kind of back and forth will create some interesting drama. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like kind of taking on the role of Lochlan and his mindset of like being this essentially like secret police guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It being like, a lot of times observation was more important to him than like direction, because like I have to understand the situation to be able to like guide it, and he wasn't trying to do it from like, a lot of times he was called to do it from the front, and he was doing things that would put him in the forefront of it, but at the same time he wasn't necessarily doing it in that moment for like, oh, I'm the guy who should be leading this, or I want the glory of it or whatever, because it's like part of the point is no one should know it was me in the long run. And so that really, I think, his reaction to that was very much like me. My reaction as a player was like, I kind of took on Locke's mindset where I'm like, well, I can't change the facts of what happened.
Yeah.
Like, so there's no point in getting upset about missed opportunities or this is what we do have. How do we manipulate this to our advantage?
Yeah, totally.
Because that was, and I'm sure you guys noticed that was how Locke was operating throughout basically the entire series. Was
totally
every time he's got thrown a curveball, he's trying to redirect it or misdirect or gaslight people into being like, no, that was the plan all along.
Yeah,
we're just gonna turn that on its head and make it.
What's going through your head, Marvin?
Overall, like I really missed Lochlan in that mission, but it kind of goes to show that like we worked together. We were such a well-rounded team, and with one person missing, it was such an integral part because it's only 3 people, and so like everything went. Oh my god, what do I do? So I think with Pak. He's that guy who's like tinkering, thinking, and I think with Boogs being such a wild variable, he just didn't know how to. What do I do? What's going on here?
You're right.
And so it was just kind of like, okay, well, how can I just constantly mitigate this? How can I help out? And also too, I don't think the rolls were that good.
No, they were very bad.
Right.
The dice absolutely shit on us.
Which historically, Michael rolls terribly. Yeah. Michael's like cursed.
I did really well this campaign, though, for the most part. But that episode is where all my bad rolls came to roost.
That was rough. And then I didn't help with mine because I also had bad rolls too. And I'm like,
repeatedly. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head though, where it's like, it showed, and I did find it very interesting, especially sitting on the sideline, that like we were like, okay, social character, you sit out. Okay, sneaky guy and tech guy, how do you want to approach this mission? And like, let's try the social subterfuge. Let's
talk to the guards.
Exactly. Let's try to fast talk our way in here and then get into hot water.
My whole vision for that was like, you guys as a party be like, we want to go do research. I want to recon the mansion.
Find some ways in.
The Masquerade before I was like, cool, I'll give them an easy in and an easy out. Here's the guards. And then Michael was like, no, I want to go. There's a window. I want to go through it. I see papers. I want to read every single paper on the desk. I'm like, oh my God, no.
It's very much it's very much the stereotype of all right, here are all these interesting NPCs. Also, there's a goblin in the corner.
Goblin the goblin.
Wait, who's that goblin? What's he doing?
And I did also, I take ownership. I did literally bring in your arch nemesis.
Yes.
Right.
Or one of them.
The bane of your existence.
Yeah,
actually, big boy.
I mean, speaking of like little lost lore bits, because Lochlan was away specifically so he could deliver a message to his mother and then also talk to his uncle to see about getting away in there. Did you guys want to know what he wrote?
Oh, yes.
To his mom.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I have it right here. Because I mean, if you want me to slip into it a little bit.
Do it.
Because that was like a contingency that we didn't have to use. Because for a little bit of extra backstory for the for the viewers, like Lochlan's mother is the first Huldoon to ever be on the Fae Council. They're like, and there's a lot of people in that were like, oh, half-bloods, blah, blah, blah. It's very like racially charged. And so that whole, like, he always kind of considered himself by extension a representative of like his race even though he's actually an Oniro, but like his perceived race because of this whole like their.
But even that in this context, being an Oniro was seen as a disgraceful thing.
Right, that would be horrible. He would have been hunted. Right, he's literally in part of the organization for hunting those types of people down. And so, him realizing that like if this really goes wrong, even before we had the major issue, him realizing if this really goes wrong, certain things could come to light, and like I need to have like a contingency. And so he left a note for his mother to try to figure, like, to leave her some breadcrumbs. And so on it, he just quickly scribbled, "Ma, not much time, big things in motion, maybe the vein, maybe worse. Not sure if we can trust Uncle Orlin. If you get bad news in the next few days, go to him. Going to the Masquerade to find out. Life or death, just not mine this time. I don't know how much yet, but I know it involves a ritual and 3 sacrifices. Don't trust General Faye or King Ylandra. Especially the king. If I go to join Pa, I'll tell him how proud of you we all are. Love you, Ma. Forever your boy, Lucky."
Give me fucking goosebumps.
So that was the note that he left behind. Because I was like, well, dude, if it comes, if like some bad shit happens.
You told me that before the game, and I was like, how can I kill Lochlan?
So we
Make yourself look real juicy.
He reads this on camera.
Oh, that's so good.
Because it was like, I didn't know if we were going to bring that in or not, and there was so many like variables, and then especially after that all went down, it was like, this has a higher chance of coming into play than I thought.
I think in that whole sequence, I mean, it was just like, I think it was just a case of, can I push this a little further? Ooh, but now I have this. Can I push it a little further? Can I get a little more? Push it a little further. And then I flew too close to the sun. And then
that's the thing. But that's D&D.
No, of course.
And the thing is, like, that's ingrained into the nature of D&D.
Yeah.
Including the bad shitty rolls for you to get the fuck out of there.
You know? Yeah. That happens. But
you try and try.
But once things truly started kicking off and we were like trying to escape and everything, I think I truly entered a place of mania that I've never entered before. And I was just like, I was just like losing my mind.
Well, but it was also funny too, because Lochlan kind of knew this already, given what his uncle was having to do to keep his secret, that I'm like, General Faye's the bad one.
Well, which is
the bad one. Knew that. Yeah. And I'm really happy you guys didn't talk. Yeah. Because like in our 0 session, just kind of going into like the design of these loops in the Zero session, Michael told me way before he wanted to be betrayed by someone higher up than him.
Yeah.
And then knowing that you kind of had this nepotism background, I was like, easy. This is going to be great. During our Zero session, I was like, okay, well, that's not enough. Because they both know they have generals in their backstories, and anyone could see that they're connected.
Right.
Anyone can know that it was connected. So I was
Just
like,
get
okay.
a little bit of separation.
And then my favorite part was that Michael gave me the gem of the Scarlet Demon. And I was like, okay, what do demons do? They kill angels.
Sure.
What is Lochlan? An angel.
Yeah.
So it's like this awesome, was like, well, how do I make the thing Michael has told me from day one? I'm going to kill General Orlin.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really?
that's
Make you be his homie now.
We're not homies. But
I think there's a fun thing too, is like designing and writing in the whole, he did for Lochlan what you wish you could have done for your kids.
yeah.
And I was like, that makes him a weird villain in another way.
Yeah.
Because he got the life you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Why don't we each talk a little bit about like what our initial ideas for our PCs were? Like where did these characters come from? Like what was the seed that then turned into our characters? And then for you, like maybe pick an NPC.
I'll do like the plot.
I mean, that's fine. Sure.
Overarching.
Yeah.
Like character development, like during that
Yeah,
time.
like what was the initial seed for Pak
Yeah.
that eventually grew into what he became?
Yeah. Well, initially I was, again, I was trying to think about the whole sticky fingers because I just wanted to play like one of the fun races that you guys had for this, in the world of Red Elves. So one was is a Nara, the frog.
Yes.
Frog folk.
Frog person. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just was like a frog that's super agile and like trying to be the the grease monkey with sticky fingers, but then I was just kind of thinking too, like, but I do like the gadgets guy, the demolitions dude, and also I just been wanting to try an artificer, so I was like, okay, let's go with this route. I wanted to play a minotaur, and I just felt like just a minotaur and artificer is just such a fun, kind of weird dynamic.
Yeah, like juxtaposition.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a very common one either.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just wanted to see, okay, how can I flesh this out and make sense of this? And then it's kind of started from there. And then again, I love trauma. So I'm like, how can I fit in a bunch of like good trauma in there?
You met up.
Yeah,
I love trauma.
Yeah,
how do I
trauma
is
is so fun.
Man, D&D players will do anything except go to therapy.
It's like the D&D anthem. I'm going to ruin my character's childhood because I can't deal with mine.
I'm not projecting, you're projecting. Yeah, and then Chacon, I talked to the Zero sessions and just a lot of conversations about it. We kind of fleshed out a lot from it and just made Pak have a richer, deeper background, and just have like more flavor to him, so like about the whole not lose, like constantly just losing, even though he's like it's kind of like he's supposed to be the destined one. He has direct relation for his people, like he has direct relationship to he on paper he should be the guy.
He's also the son of the heir of like
he's
kind of the heir of these people.
Right.
It had some consequences of
his dad was a previous leader. His uncle is
the,
now the current leader.
Like the chieftain, so because of the whole fire syndrome. And that was cool, the whole syndrome of horns thing that came about. Yeah. So like not only, did they already get originally he got displaced from Olympia, but then getting relocated during his timeline from, from the original place and having that burned down, having the whole thing and losing so much. I just, we were fleshing that a lot and just, just having and then thinking of motivation of like, why does he want to do this masquerade, so that he's able to like flesh things out. He was actually originally wanting to find out who was responsible for this engineer points. And so he got some answers, but I think what he ultimately got was like, the past is the past.
Yeah.
And then with his cousin, his cousin being there, like this is what you have currently, and like don't forget about that type of thing. Yeah. Or don't lose that to the past.
Yeah. I think especially with Pak, the storyline of like it being family based was such a cool opportunity because everybody has things with their family, right? But I didn't want to deep dive into too many familial relationships for everybody. Yours specifically, I kind of input Laureen in there. This opportunity for you to be forced into leadership, even though you lost the mayorship.
Yeah.
Right? To remind you, like, hey, there's still other opportunities for you to be that person.
Right.
And then I purposely didn't show your mom.
Right.
Because I wanted you to feel alone.
Yeah.
Right. And then you were actively avoiding your family.
Yeah.
But forcing you to deal with that was also like how the family played those like, and it was nice to see that, you know, because you sought out your family, and it was like something that wasn't there for you.
Well,
you
part of the thing with because I picked up on that and I appreciated that aspect because that was kind of like the setup for him professionally as well of being like,
right.
He knew he's going to be like deep cover or like on his own and have to think on his feet and then establish that. And to Locke, I tried to play him a little bit more jovial, but it very much, I mean, especially with an organization like the Vane, like he's manipulation is like part and parcel for him, and so to him, like everybody, no matter how much you care about them, everybody's a chess piece, right? And it doesn't matter. Like you can use anybody for something, even if it's like you're not necessarily manipulating them, so to speak. In his mind, right? Like if I was to embody Locke again, he'd be like, "Oh, love is a manipulation." Right? You know? It's not he's like, it doesn't matter if it's genuine or not. Like there's a way that affects how people act. And if you're conscious of it, then you're automatically manipulating them. Like that's just how it is. And
that's
so so for him, when he did end up going to talk to his uncle, the thing that was really like eating at him that I hope I was able to portray was that he had to try to find out what kind of chess piece he was to his uncle. Because the whole point for that was he's like, I know my uncle thinks this exact same way. I just need to. He's like, I need to find out if I'm a pawn or higher, right? Or I'm a more important piece.
For you two, that was a genuinely like I was trying to make sure there was enough love there for you to trust him, but also enough doubt to ensure mistrust, to have that like, you know, internal conflict. And I was like, maybe he's just not going to care. Knowing really the party, we tend as like players in a party, we tend to have each other's back because we're friends in real life, but also because you need that to like to carry out the story. But I'm like, well, how do I make his arch nemesis your father? Like, you know, and then have that not be like death on sight.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, I'm curious kind of how you developed. Did you start with the grudge? Because I know you had different concepts. I know you had different concepts for a character initially, but like once you settled on this armless monk who's not really armless, like what was it like? Okay, I'm starting from the revenge thing, and everything else is going to flesh out from there, or was it more like the mechanics created the story?
I think it was. I think it was more of the mechanics creating the story. Yeah, because I think it was. I saw a piece of art online where it was a monk and he was missing one arm and he had like the energy arm, and it wasn't D&D related. It was just a piece of artwork that someone made, and then I made me think of the Astral Arms monk for subclass 4 D&D, and then I was like, oh, well, what if he lost both arms, and then this is how he fights, and then it was just kind of continuing to follow the logic of like, okay, well, if this is this way, then why is that, and where did that come from, and then building it out like that. But yeah, there was lots of inspirations for this character. Also, I mean, to be 100% honest, the playing a bugbear soldier very much came from Dimension 20, Brennan Lee Mulligan playing KP Hobb, who was a bugbear soldier. Very different disposition, but just someone who was like very honor bound, but was of this species that was
traditionally monstrous.
Yeah, traditionally monstrous, or like chaotic and things like that, and so playing it more straight laced. So that was a nugget of inspiration. Seeing that piece of artwork was inspiration, and then just I don't know, taking it to the deepest, darkest place.
Drama, baby.
Yeah.
There were so many times where in our zero sessions or like pre-game sessions, I'd be like, okay, he hates the world, but why? Or he does all this stuff, but why? He's like, I don't know. He fucking hates him. He wants to kill him. I was like, okay, yeah, but like maybe it was a lot of like,
why?
There's a lot of like these rage-filled moments. It felt very barbarian-esque, but was like focused on a person who had lost everything.
Yeah, totally.
That's very interesting that you say that, because I actually arrived at kind of a very similar process where it was mostly like I was trying to figure out the mechanics of how I create a character that would fit well into a heist setting. And as I think I mentioned, right, with the like, I'll be a paladin, it'll be funny.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, it's not funny. It doesn't work.
Very difficult.
And then
hard mode.
And so then I was like, well, I still want to play a high charisma character, but I don't think we need a sorcerer per se. And so I was like, oh, I haven't played a bard with these guys before. I haven't really done much barding in tabletop games in general. I was like, and I like spell sword type characters. Like that archetype is very near and dear to me. And so it ended up being like, I picked bard. I hadn't necessarily settled on College of Swords, right? But then looking at like lore or some of the other ones that are more, not put it in a negative way, but like more obvious for this type of campaign setting. Because we even talked about it, you're like, oh, this would be like really good potentially. And I'm like, yeah, it would, but I don't. It's maybe too good. Like I don't want to.
I think like the power gamer version of Lochlan is a Bard of Whispers.
Yeah, that Whispers would or the other. There's a couple other colleges. Yeah, Glamour was Eloquence. I think was the one.
Literally every other bard except for Sword.
Right. And so once I had felt that of being like, I don't want to be Eloquence because it's the obvious choice or whatever.
Sure.
And I still kind of had that on the back of my mind of being like, I'm going to try to convert a warrior into like a social engineering character.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'll do College of Swords. And then like, as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, well, how would he be? What's his justification for picking up a sword? And then it became he's a member of the Scarlet Guard. And then I was like, oh, but what if he's like, because he's like smarter than the average guardsman. So what if, and I was like, and if he has a noble, exactly. And then Chacon and I kind of came up with this whole noble, semi-noble heritage thing. And then it was like, all right, well now he's in. And then we eventually arrived at the Oniro thing because we're like, wouldn't it be kind of interesting if like he's part of the secret police, but secretly he's one of the things that they're frequently hunting. And then everything kind of just started to morph out from there. And personality wise, I mean, there were some interesting inspiration pieces. Like obviously, I kind of tried to ham up a little bit of his social like deception stuff because it fit the tone and what we were trying to do. But there was definitely a lot of me rewatching scenes from The Gentleman with Charlie Hunnam's character, especially just being like this like cool, calm, and collected. But I have a submachine gun in my coat, like this very like
I can break your arm.
He was very much trying to like, especially with Boogs and Pocky. So honestly, just trying to de-escalate a lot of the times until it was not time to de-escalate. Like when the first major fight in the warehouse. When they finally uncorked and he's like, you're blind, you're going in the water, fighting you, like, and then. But then the same thing, right? Like he gets forced to do a duel, and instead of being like, I'm going to show off I'm going to flex, he's like, well, come with me and I'm going to diffuse the situation instead. Because it was like that dichotomy was really part of what drove in my mind his direction as a character. Being like, all right, well, he's kind of got two halves, but how do I unite them?
And you guys did a really good job as far as like the placing of connections, right? Because you guys obviously had a connection at the beginning. You guys were talking about like, the army, the military stuff, but you didn't flesh it out yet which gave me and you to have space to talk about singeing of horns. And then for us to just have that moment go crazy. And then
they made it perfect for us to revisit.
Exactly. And so I thought that was like really awesome as far as like pacing story wise.
I'm curious to hear too your idea of setting that all, because obviously, I mean, we're working within the framework that you made for that, and like the kind of what some of the background was, especially for like the vein and its place within Fey society at large.
That was cool. I'm sorry, just before you, because like for me because I had no relation as Pop. Sorry, because I'm on the outskirts. I'm kind of doing my own thing, living my own life. So when you guys were revealing a bunch of that, like just military, like I'm like, it's like watching a documentary unfold. Like it was really cool how it unwrapped and like unfolded to me.
I think that has a lot to do with like the plot of what it had before the Zero session, which was the Masquerade, which is like this devious ritual where the king is absorbing souls and from the citizens of Red Elms, and then it's become like, well, to keep a kingdom alive, someone has to do the dirty, nasty stuff. The CIA of Red Elms, which became the Vein, which is very easy to put you guys into, right? And then having the horrors of that ruin your life, and then also be your future, and then also be the thing that's trying to stop your future. Because in the conversations in the Masquerade, they're very clear of like, we can't let this railroad happen.
Yeah.
Which all your hopes and futures was tied to that specifically. So it was something of like, putting a little bit of message of like power struggles and class systems and like the decadence of all that, but very much like the Vein being like this through line of the society that ultimately at the end of the campaign got ruined. Like the king died, the castle's gone. I did not expect that.
Me either, dude. We're gonna have some writing to do before the next Red Elms campaign.
But it very much so was like tying in. Everyone had a secret to hold, right? Something you were masking yourself, playing on the masquerade. The mask that everybody kind of like chose for themselves what they were hiding from. But also the kingdom has something to hide, which is like this evil, wicked core that was the Vein running through the society.
Yeah.
So it made it real easy for me to like, well, I'm just going to put this thing in there.
Yeah.
Spicy,
cool.
dude.
Yeah.
With that, I wanted to move on to what if each of the PCs could give a brief like epilogue. Like, what do you think your character's future? What do you think your character did
Next
after the
step
end?
or happy ever after.
Yeah.
If there is one.
Yeah.
That's true. For Pac, I think him was just still the vision of a future for Brighthorn, his people, the Minotaurs. So I think he, with the help of Loreen, still instilling like this new like department of like what's a artificer, just that field of like, technology and stuff, maybe making some connections, still working on the railroad.
Yeah.
And then I think the dream of having a bakery where with the mom's recipe for pies and stuff. So I think just constantly developing Brighthorn. I think that's definitely in his future, but also still having that like small question of like, bringing justice to like singeing of horns, because like, yes, he did get some answers, and yes, like, okay, I think he established, okay, I need to focus what's in front of me, but if I get the answer to this, or if I find the person involved, like, that's a bridge I'm across, everything. So I think that's his main focus for now, at least.
Cool.
I think at first that the expectation might be that Locke and his mom would like flee the collapsing of that government, especially for the easy scapegoating that they would have in greater society. But I don't think that's the case. I think what Locke would do, rather than try to sway people to their side, I think he would try to leave that up to his mom, and he would rely on his uncle to like protect her, and then Locke would do what he started to learn to do really well with the Vein, and then be like, oh, you want to spread some misinformation about our involvement with that? It's kind of weird how I showed up in your bedroom at the middle of the night to have a discussion about this, so maybe we should talk it out. And I think he would enlist in probably based on his sentiment at the end of the campaign in a advisory role. I think he would enlist Boogs and being like what's the softest spot to apply this scalpel? Like, we're gonna change the direction of this society, but maybe from the shadows. Like, I'm not gonna. I don't need to be the despot, because you had mentioned something when we executed the princess, and you were like, oh, you guys were gonna find out she secretly was like a rebel, but was gonna take
a whole thing too.
Yeah,
and I had
it was gonna be just replacing one despot with another, essentially, and so that we accidentally cut that off at the pass. Like that's like Lochlan, I think, would be involved in not a resistance per se, but that'd be the best way I could describe it. He's like he would basically found an underground.
He'd be
with his mom being like a figurehead, but like who could still act as in a capacity that's more formal and more accepted by society. But he's definitely going to try to work in the shadows to if he can't get reform, revolution.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think for Boogs, this is very sad, but I do think it's true. I think he would spend at most 2 months at home, and I think he would try to connect to his kids, both of his sons. We didn't meet his other son, but he has 2 sons. He would try to connect to his kids. He would try to, reconnect that relationship with his wife if she would even want one at this point. But I think ultimately the blood on his hands and just being haunted by all the things that he did, I don't think he could stick around for very long. I think he would definitely go out, and now being torn and kind of unable to bring himself to kill Orlin, even though he still does have a kernel of hatred for him. But because of the relationship that he realized that was between Orlin and Locke and that wishing that he could have had maybe that relationship with his sons, not being able to go through with that, but then placing that anger elsewhere and going for other people that he knew were either in the vein or connected in the Scarlet Guard, or like people politically who he knew were like pulling strings to make horrible things happen. And I think it's interesting that you mentioned like tapping Boogs to like, oh, where could we apply pressure? I think Boogs would fully be on board with just being Locke's tool, like his fucking hound, to just be like, go get that guy. Just go. And honestly, I think he would probably continue to do that and somewhat recklessly until he died.
Because I did forget too, like, because when you had your son and then I had my little cousin, Pac was very interested in like, okay, well, let me at least show you how you can, because I'm going to work on this. I'm reconnected with my cousin. Maybe you can help, maybe I can help. That'll help you reconnect with your kid. Yeah. So I think if anything, for better or worse, I think Pac would also maybe try, because we've bonded, everyone of us bonded, where I think he would try to have a hand in like, maybe even if you do end up doing that, trying to see if you can take care of your kid or help take care of them.
I think, which is very poetic too, because very directly you ruined his like life. So him stepping in and be the father you can't be is really sick.
And then, or if you don't decide to, and if you successfully reconnect, you can work at my bakery or whatever. I know I pitched that earlier. He's like, no, never. But whatever.
Chacon, what about the nation of Elandra versus the nation of Alcancé?
So Eleva district versus Alcancé. So now there's very high potential for a civil war to be going on. And also class war, very heavily influenced, because, through the Masquerade, the powers that be want to stay in power, as we've all learned. But just listening to your guys' little recaps, I'm like, no, you're not. DM minding. I'm like, oh, how do you think so? But the idea, I'm like,
we'll see. It'll be very interesting.
But there's so much like, there's no crown. Who's in charge? There's always a lot of like people in play for power, like generals and chancellors. So seeing all them grab for the power of the nation is going to be super sick. The thing is like, this shapes a lot of the parts. But I like doing that in the back burner.
Totally.
Whereas, like, we don't meet the king until, like, the second to last episode.
Yeah.
So, he is technically, like, the big bad. But he's so, like, not about what the story's about.
Yeah. I do have to ask this question.
Hit me.
Because I was like, and maybe this is me theory crafting things that aren't real. But I was very much at some point, I was like, Zirin had to have known that your cousin and my son were going to get involved in this.
Yeah.
And then you were going to get sucked into this. Because I was like, why would Zirin choose these three fucking like randos exactly to go on this mission if he didn't somehow see some sort of thread of fate or something. So I wanted to know, was that something that you had in mind, or was that something that came together?
That was something that came together for the sense of, to go into why. So the reason you three were chosen in Zirin's mind was because he asked a favor from his connections in the vein, so Lochlan's name came up. He asked a favor for his connections in Alcancé, so Pac's name came up, because they're star pupils. They're the heads of their class.
Makes sense.
And he had to come up with a third guy who knew these two are goody two-shoes, and I need a guy who's going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
So let me go get the worst killer guy I know, which was Boogs.
Yeah.
But also I was like, okay, well, he has no idea who the sacrifices are.
Okay.
He has no idea that they're being chosen like this.
Gotcha.
But in the reasoning of it, they originally came to Orlin to sacrifice Lochlan as a proof to like test your mettle, see if you're on our side. And he convinced them to take Rensron. Which we didn't get into.
Motherfucker. I'm going to That's all right. Back on.
Because
on.
Rensron had also become his like protege. After the guilt of what he did to you, he took him in as his next in command.
All right, I hate him again.
Yeah, and it was like this idea
Complicated.
of Lorene got chosen because she was a thief. When you left, she still needed to get money and resources. So she turned to like being a rogue. She was a rogue. She's an arcane trickster who was just stealing stuff from passing by carriages through the Red Horn. So she would just lift stuff. One of those carriages was carrying the medallion. So she was got like wrong place, wrong time. She touched the thing, attuned to it, and they were like, well, I guess we got to take her now.
And they just picked me anyway because fuck my family.
I guess so.
Well, because they needed to teach him a lesson.
Well, okay. Rapid fire questions. We're almost at our end of this campfire chat, but I wanted to go through them really quick. Who was Lochlan's father?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
No, who is Lochlan's father? All right. Why the name Toopak?
Because he's from the hood.
What actually is the artifact?
It is a crystal seed from one of the giving trees from Shiori.
Ooh. What was the prince's motivation? She kind of, you alluded to, she had a different motivation
than her
father.
King.
Than her grandfather.
It was like her great-grandfather. So basically she'd seen generations of her family die off while her grandfather stayed in power because he had this life-sucking thing. And it was like the fake altruism of people in that power were like, I'm going to save the people by taking the power for myself rather than giving the power to the people, right?
Why did General Fay keep Boogs alive in prison instead of just letting him get executed?
Because he didn't trust Orlin completely. He knew what had going on. He's not dumb. And he knew that Boogs was getting framed. But it was easy to tie that bow up by framing Boogs. But the same idea of like, he's been loyal, he's been dutiful. I'm not going to just kill him, right? Let him live off in prison.
It's also something to hold over Orlin,
Correct.
just in case he slipped in the line. The last one, what happened to Priscilla?
She's thriving, flirty,
moisturized, unbothered,
and thriving. Priscilla's waiting for maybe a little
and she's
horn call.
Little well done beef.
She still has a certain Angus Youth's setting stone number.
Oh, that's very true.
Speed
She does. You have a lot of explaining to do about that fake artifact.
My bad. With that, obviously, there's many more questions. Maybe we'll try to answer them in some other way. Hit us up if you have anything else. But thank you so much for joining us. This has been our campfire chat for the Masquerade, and we'll see you again soon. Farewell. Bye-bye.
Laters.
See you soon.
As a cut.
Cut it.